Welcome to Ditch Relation Tales, where every story unravels a secret. So, let's dive into another story. I was married to my wife Betty for 6 years. I travel for work several times a year for training and support. I never had any reason to suspect her of cheating until last year. Then I started seeing signs like her being out more, buying new clothes, and being overly protective of her phone. When I would ask her questions, she would give me vague and evasive answers. Also, our sex life wasn't as good as it used to be. I had a couple of conversations with her and she assured me we were fine and that she was just focusing on improving herself. Still not satisfied, I cloned her iPhone to my iPad and I was able to read her texts and emails, including a bunch she had tried to delete. It was so much worse than I thought. She was talking with several guys and had slept with most of them. I took screenshots of everything, including pictures they had traded. She was meeting them at our house when I was out of town on business. I spent a whole day at work just rereading everything and trying to make sense of it. I had another trip planned that month and all I could think about was what was going to happen while I was gone. The next day I made a plan to confront her, but I wanted more evidence so she couldn't deny it and say I was delusional. So I rigged 2 IP cameras, one in the living room and another in our bedroom, and hooked them to my NASP box. When I got back from my trip I had more than I bargained for. She had 2 different guys over while I was gone, and what really floored me was seeing her enjoying acts with them that she never would do with me. I did a deep dive and found out all the personal info on the guy she was talking to. Both of the guys on the video are married, one is even a deacon at our church. I had another trip a week later and got more videos with a third guy. I was home for about 3 weeks straight and kept close watch on her, volunteering to go on errands with her and such. Then I told her I had to go to Phoenix on short notice but would only be gone 2 to 3 nights. Sure enough, she set up a date while I was gone. So I faked a trip to the airport and checked into a local hotel with the plan of showing up at the house 20 minutes before her date was supposed to show up. I got to the house and let myself in and found her getting ready. She was shocked, to say the least. I showed her the videos and said I knew everything and we were done. She pleaded with me to stay and work things out. She promised to change and said how ashamed she was. I told her she would have to cut all contact with the guy she had hooked up with, and if anything like this ever happened again I would be out the door. I said she needed to make a list of who she slept with and when. If she wasn't completely honest, I would know and we were done. We also had to go to couples counseling to get to the root of why she cheated. In the meantime, I contacted her 3 affair partners in person and showed each of them a short video clip featuring them. I said they needed to block all contact with my wife, even so much as a text or call. I would find out and send those clips and text messages to their families, friends, and co-workers. We did the therapy and things were better for almost a year. One thing I never told her was how I found out and that I could still read her texts and emails. Trust but verify. She started a conversation with a guy trading nudes and sexting, falling back into her old habits. I set up another fake trip and she set up another date at our house. This time I waited down the street in a rental car and watched the guy walk into my house. I walked in on him in the bedroom with my cell phone recording. I started cursing and yelling at the top of my lungs. It scared both of them and they jumped up. She was crying and he was trying to get his pants back on. He ran out and I went in to confront my wife. I told her we were done and she needed to leave. She pleaded with me and promised to make it up to me. I said she had 48 hours to confess to her parents and friends how she threw away our marriage before I started sending out her video highlight reels to everyone. I tracked her new affair partner down and sent their text messages and the cell phone footage to his wife. Betty has called me several times. She is in panic mode. Her new affair partner has told her about his wife getting my email package. Betty is begging for mercy and for me to stop. At this point I just want to sit back and watch the world burn. I showed my evidence to my best friend and his wife. He said to move on, but his wife is siding with my darker side. She said to expose all her partners and go scorched earth. I'm torn right now as I realize I'm still in pain and just want to lash out, so I might not be making wise decisions. The one thing I do know is I don't want her to spin this breakup into being my fault. On Tuesday morning I got a call at work from Betty and she is in shock. She just got served the divorce papers. Kudos to my lawyer for expediting that. She says she understands but wants to talk things out. I have spent the last couple of days in a hotel, but I told her we could talk when I came home. She said it felt like her life was coming apart at the seams. She got a call from our pastor's wife saying it would be best if she resigned from the committee she was on at our church. 3 out of 4 of her affair partners have contacted her about having their lives blown up. 2 are confused because they followed my suggestions. They cut all contact with her in exchange for my silence. Her best friend called her crying because she and her husband were fighting after I talked to them the other night. I asked if she had told her family or any of our friends yet, and she said just a few. I said I would be reaching out to them soon to let them know if she hadn't. She swears she still loves me and wants to stay with me. I told her I should have left her when I found out she cheated the first time. I told her I had copies and read every email and text she had sent or received for the last 3 years along with her Snapchat. So I knew everything. All the conversations and all the trading of pictures and videos, even the ones she thought she had deleted. I said there is no way I could trust you, and without trust there could be no future or love. The only thing left for us to do together is divorce and go our separate ways. Updates in the comments. I made my wife write out a timeline of who and when she cheated on me. Turns out there were 6 guys, 3 of whom she only saw once or twice. The first guy she hooked up with was when I got on tape. I sent out info to all the wives this morning and I got a call back from one of them within minutes. She asked a lot of questions and said she had suspected him before but just never could prove it. She thanked me for giving her what she needed. The newest affair partner was removed from his house and charged with domestic battery. He called me to give me a piece of his mind and made a few threats. Another user said even with everything that's happened your soon-to-be ex-wife is still looking out for her affair partner. The app replied no. When she wanted me to stop and ask for mercy, it was for herself. She realized I was going to do what I told her I would do and she didn't want her friends and family to see all the evidence. Her affair partner was already burned and kicked out of his house. Another Opus comment, all the affair partners' wives have been informed already along with other people associated with them, including a few key members of our church. Betty's 48 hours have passed and I will start trickling out the truth to our friends and family. I saw her best friend out last night and confronted her about why she didn't say anything to me about Betty's affairs to me. She denied any knowledge and I asked her husband if he knew, to which she also denied. So I sent the email chain between Betty and her friend to the husband where his wife was envious and supportive of Betty's cheating. A user asked how you clone the phone. The Opus replied. My wife is not very tech savvy, so when she got a new phone last year she had me set it up so I had her Apple ID and password. It was simple enough to wipe my iPad and restore from her iCloud account and then to sync her texts, emails, and a few other apps to iCloud on both devices. As far as letting this go, I am done. Just waiting on the divorce and closing this chapter of my life. My attorney wasn't happy when I told him about the videos earlier this week. He said the affair partners might be the only thing to worry about as far as my wife. He said that can be handled if it comes to that. He said he could argue that they were home security cameras. Either way, he said not to worry too much about it. He has dealt with this before. Another user said, okay, I am fully supportive, but you might want to ask your attorney if publishing your nudes and videos is considered revenge porn or not. That can be a serious charge in some states, the app replied. We've talked about that it's a misdemeanor 1 year and or $1,000, but he said I don't fit the criteria for the statute even if I were charged. He said the most I would get was the fine. But in my state adultery is a felony and carries a 5-year and or $500 fine, and we have messages and videos to prove it. It's rarely prosecuted, but he has the juice with the local DA to at least get them charged if not prosecuted, which will deter them from pressing charges or filing a lawsuit. Another user expressed concerns about the level of exposure, stating that it's horrible that somebody cheated, but trying as hard as you can to destroy her for this puts you on the same level as her. The app replied I did not send graphic pictures to anyone in my church with the exception of one of our friends that goes there and the deacon's wife. I did send text messages and her timeline of the affair to a few church members, including my pastor's wife. I felt since she was on the committee with my wife, she should know as well. I know the deacon's wife shared some pictures with a few people, possibly the pastor's wife and couple of others, but that is still my church. True, I have no desire to waste any more of my life with my future ex-wife. She destroyed my life not once but twice and lied to my face for at least 2 years. All I did was shine a bright light on her infidelity. I made nothing up nor exaggerated any fact. The only one guilty of destroying her life is her. I wasn't going to let her spin our divorce as something that was my fault. In answer to another user, the app stated the opposite. There used to be a time in the world when marriage vows meant something and married couples were faithful to each other. Making everything public means controlling the narrative about the reasons for the divorce and keeping my wife from spinning it into me being the bad guy here. There was a time when I did love her, but the pain she inflicted negated that feeling. I didn't make up or exaggerate any of the details I spread. So if she is humiliated by everyone knowing the decisions she made, maybe she should have made better decisions. As far as telling the other people who were cheated on, they deserve to know the truth and that their health could be at risk or that their partner was sleeping being with an adulteress. So I am dealing with my house as I see fit and I am informing those parties that I want to know the truth. I never sent the info I have to any minor nor are there any kids involved in this debacle. She is the one that threw away the last 6 years of our life and hurt me not once but twice. So why should she get to walk away from this without sharing some of the pain and responsibility for her actions at the moment this story is over? What do you think about this story? What are your tips for him? Let us know in the comments.